Hi and welcome to our Wednesday Facebook Live here in the Heal Facebook group. So if you haven't met me before, my name is Pamela Barton and I am your host here in this group, and I'm committed to bring you value and help you solve your energy problems and give you valuable tools and guidance on how to get your energy back. So today I'm going live, and I do this usually every Wednesday here in this group. So if we haven't met, I'm very happy that you found us here in the group, and post below this video when you see me for the first time. Say hi, give me a thumbs up or a little heart, and let me know that you're here. Today our topic is the number one thing, and you can even argue it's the most important thing that you need to have in place when you're trying to heal from a chronic condition. And so let's talk about the definitions first. What do I mean with a chronic condition? So for me, a chronic condition is basically everything that has a symptom attached to it that bothers you on a daily basis. So for example, fatigue, if it bothers you, that you feel tired every day, I will call that chronic, because it never goes away and you feel like this on a regular basis. So that's chronic, right? It can also be digestive symptoms, bloating and gas and, indigestion. Everything that you have on a regular basis would be a chronic condition. So it doesn't necessarily has to be a diagnosis attached to it. You don't need to always have a name for what you're feeling. But it's basically anything that you have on a regular basis that is not going away, that you are trying to live with, that's part of your life, whatever you feel, that I would sum up as a chronic condition. So when we have that definition, you would probably agree with me that it's a lot of different things, and a lot of people deal with chronic conditions. So this video is pretty much for everything and everybody, because this underlying thing that I'm going to talk about in a second really applies to everybody when they're trying to solve whatever it is that bugs them. If you're fine with it and you don't want to solve it, then this video is not for you. But if you're really trying and resolve what's bothering you health-wise, then this video is for you for sure. Okay, so you probably heard me say, other people say, it's becoming a little bit more mainstream that all disease starts in the gut. You've probably heard that before, and that is absolutely true, and that is usually the first place holistic practitioners are looking at when you present with anything that's chronic. But let me tell you another insight that I gained over the course of the last, let's say 10 years, that yes, gut is super important, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more later. But there's one thing that I find is even more important. And I can relate to this due to my own chronic health conditions that I started to develop already in my early 20s without knowing, because I thought that, some things are part of life when you get older, when you're stressed, you might get sleep problems, you might get indigestion, and that's all part of life and being an adult, which is not, by the way, but most of us think that way. And so my journey started early on, my health journey, and I'm in my mid-40s now. So as you can see, it's about 20 years of finding out and understanding what's behind all this. And so from my own discoveries and from my own story, but also having worked with clients for the past 5 years, I know there's one thing that's even more important. So I'm going to tell you now, because it's mindset. It's how you view the world. It is how you perceive your environment. So for me, really, most chronic disease starts in your mind first. It starts in your mind because you come from a place of contraction. So if you know a little bit about energy and energy dynamics, everything that's contracting, that's limiting, that we're self-imposing and inflicting on us, right, suppresses our energy and suppresses our good functioning immune system. All of these things are kind of pressing down on us. If we have an abundant mindset, if we come from a place of abundance in everything we do, we are expanding and allowing things to flow more freely. So that is a more energetic, very brief summary of what's happening. But the underlying issue is the same with chronic diseases. How we perceive our environment has a tremendous effect on chronic diseases. So if, for example, if we perceive that we have a lot of stress in our life, in our environment, and I mean right now, especially with the pandemic, lots of people have stress that they feel they can't control because it's in the environment, right? It comes from the outside and it tells us, what we can't and can do right now, and if we can or cannot work, if we get or do not get money, all of these things, we feel like it's from the outside and we can't control it. So it's super easy to get into a victim mentality. And I don't mean this in a negative way. It's just how we define it, that we feel like we have to submit to the stressors. We have to incorporate it into our daily lives. And it's the vibe in our environment. It's super stressful. It's super fearful. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear out there. And we might pick up on it and we make it our own, right? All of this contributes to our health being more suppressed and more contracted, right? Because all of a sudden we feel so much stress. But because we feel so much stress, we're developing these symptoms, or they are not improving, even though we're making an effort right now. We do a ton of things. And let me tell you, most people I work with, they do a ton of things right. They eat healthy foods, they take some supplements, maybe they exercise, they find something that they like, they have a job they like, everything seems to be super aligned, and still their symptoms do not improve. Because oftentimes there's a mindset piece missing that is super, super important to be in place for the body actually to be able to heal. So if we change the perception to our environment, and if we change the way we think about stress and experience stress, we give our body a fair chance to heal itself completely on its own. And this fundamental concept is also something that I incorporated in my super duper new online coaching program that I will be releasing soon, because the mindset piece makes or breaks your success in everything in life, but especially in health and if you are trying to recover from something. So let's talk about stress for a little while longer, because right now stress is so prevalent to all of us, and sometimes we don't even realize that we have a ton of stress. But when we go back to the sentence, all disease starts in the gut, which is also true, and we bring the stress into the component, we really do have a storm brewing, and it's super, super hard to stay healthy and vibrant and energetic when there's stress, when there's impaired digestion, when there's a mindset of scarcity, of lack, of fear. It's kind of hard to recover from that, wouldn't you agree? So this is something we really have to look at and work on. And coming back to the stress piece and digestion, let's make the connection right there. For example, sometimes we don't realize that we put stress on ourselves also by the way we're eating. And especially right now with COVID, we tend to eat more alone, even if we live with our family, because we've seen them for so many days. Everybody's just kind of eating whenever, whatever, and wherever, right? I don't know if you have kids at home who are homeschooling. They tend to eat their snacks now in front of the computer while they have class or shortly after. It's all over the place. And all of these things pose stress on the body and the digestive system, because we're not meant to eat alone, or also while we're stressed or we're doing stuff. Number two usually is we're doing stuff while we eat. We're standing at the kitchen counter, we're scrolling through social media, we're checking our emails, we're doing whatever while we eat. So we're not even taking the time. So we're inflicting a lot of stress on our digestive system through our behavior, on top of all the environmental things that's going on, right? We also eat too quickly. We kind of shove it in quickly. We don't take the time to chew properly. We don't take the time to appreciate the food. It's for a lot of us, it's just convenience. It's just something we need to do, but we don't pay a lot of attention to it. And then, of course, mindless eating is always something, and I can do a video just on mindless eating. We eat so mindlessly, right? We don't take the time to actually think about how many pieces of chocolate did I just eat? Oh, it's already the third snack I'm grabbing within the last 2 hours. Now I'm not really hungry for dinner. I might just skip it and have a bowl of cereal. Whatever it is, and we're all guilty of this at some point in our lives. It's just who we are as humans. But I want you to understand that all of this is stress. So you put stress on your body by your own behavior. You're putting stress on your body with thoughts, limiting beliefs, things you can't or can control. All of these things come together and contribute to our chronic condition. And if we don't look at this more closely, and if we don't try to change this, we are having a really, really hard time to recover. Because you can eat your healthy salad while you're standing scrolling through the media and not chewing properly and eating alone, not talking to anyone, and eating mindlessly. It's great that you had this yummy and healthy salad, but the behavior around it is not very much helping you to actually leave a lasting effect on your body. When you're also reading COVID news while you eat your healthy salad, and you get upset about what you're reading, or you read about more people dead, or someone got shot again, right, while you're eating your healthy salad. Do you see what I'm trying to say? You're inflicting a lot of stress on your body with these mindless actions, right? Let's call them mindless actions because we don't really think about them as a way that we're jeopardizing our health. And one final word to cortisol. That's our stress hormone. So we've established that we're pretty much in stress all the time, right? With everything that's going on. So for most people, cortisol is pretty high because it gets secreted all the time when we feel stressed, even if we're not aware of it, right? That still happens. And there were just recent studies, and I'm looking at my notes, that's why I'm looking to the side sometimes. We found out that cortisol impacts the expression of our DNA material, and it has a widespread effect in our body, and especially in the gut. So cortisol is super important for good DNA expression. So we might have some genes that are not advantageous, and they might get turned on and express themselves through too much cortisol. And especially the gut is very, very vulnerable to too much cortisol and can wreak havoc with all kinds of things in the gut. Okay? So yes, I agree, stress, chronic conditions, diseases start in the gut, but they also start in the mind. Your mindset piece is the most important piece, and often gets overlooked. When you work practitioners, they do the handling of the underlying issues. They do the handling of symptoms with supplements and diet. And those are all good things. Okay, don't get me wrong. We need to do all of these things. But if we neglect our attitude, our mindset, we are jeopardizing our healing journey, and we're jeopardizing the results we're seeing. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have worked on your mindset and how you perceive your environment and how you deal with stress while you're trying to recover from whatever bothers you. Let me know. I'd be super interested to know. Post it in the comments here below if that is something that you've discovered for yourself as well. I certainly have. For me, mindset was one of the most important things I had to change in order to recover from my own symptoms that I had for many years. And I can only tell you it is so powerful that we often underestimate the thoughts we think on a regular basis and the stress we feel on a regular basis. All right, I wish you a wonderful rest of the day today, and I will see you again next week here in the group. And leave a comment, send me some likes, and share this with your friends. Have a great day. Bye.